What's up, everybody? My name is Tucker. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Kyrie Irving. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Check out my socials at the top of the screen as well, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, quickly, want to get this out of the way. Today, we're here to talk about how Kyrie Irving's situation, the decisions that he has made directly impact the Nets and the rest of the NBA from a basketball standpoint. If you have other opinions on the decisions that Kyrie has or has not made, you can leave them somewhere else. This is not the time nor the place. So Kyrie Irving, currently not eligible to play in Brooklyn Nets home games nor practice with the team when they're at home. Obviously a significant issue. There's a variety of different things that this impacts, not only the Nets' chances of winning a title, but the possibility of Kyrie being traded and how this situation could eventually resolve itself. So the reason this is coming up because there were reports yesterday that the Nets are currently not optimistic, nor have they gotten any indication that the circumstances around Kyrie's eligibility to play in home games this year has changed. And it was also reported that the Nets' patience with this situation and their optimism with Irving possibly being able to play in home games and practice at home this year, all that stuff is decreasing. They're not super confident that the situation is going to change anytime soon. This obviously has a significant impact on the team that, depending on your opinion, is either one or two in terms of favorites to win the NBA title this season. It's a team that, despite the injury issues last year, almost beat the eventual NBA champions in 7 games, ended up losing to Milwaukee in the second round. But they're obviously a very good team, a talented team. You can make the argument that they have more depth this year, adding guys like Patty Mills, bringing back guys like Blake Griffin, having an entire season, hopefully, to integrate Harden and Kyrie and Kevin Durant all together at the same time. Assuming that everybody is healthy and actually plays in a good amount of the basketball games, the Nets should be one of the very clear title favorites in the league, potentially the title favorite. However, that situation gets much murkier if Kyrie Irving is not eligible to play in half the home games. And ultimately, this has led to a discussion that a lot of different people have had about, well, why don't they just get rid of Kyrie then? If he's not eligible to play, if he's not going to play in half the games, what's the point of keeping the guy on the roster? Well, I'll tell you, one, it's been reported but not confirmed that if Kyrie was ever traded from Brooklyn, he would just retire. I have no reason not to believe that, quite frankly. And what team is trading anything that's actually going to help Brooklyn in exchange for a guy that can't play in half the games in some of the markets in the league? It's an unprecedentedly weird situation, and it's something that the Nets are just going to have to find a way to deal with. They've been patient. They've tried to let the situation resolve itself, and it quite simply hasn't. And this has like a really long-lasting effect on the team. They can't get rid of the guy. They can't just release him or cut him because they still would like to have him on the team. They can't trade him because nobody's going to want to trade for him. And they can't, are they going to fine Kyrie for not playing? I mean, he's going to lose money for not playing, but it's just like, how do you even resolve this, right? Because the only real way that this gets resolved is if the rules change. If by the end of the season, the rules change, then Kyrie can play in home games and they're in the postseason and everything's fine. But let's just say that the rules as they are right now are the exact same for Kyrie Irving, and he's not eligible to play in home games for the entirety of the season, and nothing with his circumstance or the NBA circumstance changes. The Nets could be in the finals, have a Game 7 at home, and Kyrie Irving could not play. How bonkers is that? It's absolutely, there's no precedent for this. There's no comparison for this within not only NBA history, but sports history in general as well. And I know we've been living in a relatively unprecedented time as it is, but that's just the situation Brooklyn is in, and there's no solution unless the rules change, unless Irving's situation changes, or they attempt to trade the guy, but they can't trade him. And it's a lose-lose situation for Brooklyn. Again, I'm not here to criticize Kyrie or anybody's decision-making process here, but the impact this has not only on the Nets, but the NBA as a whole, given the fact that the Nets are, worst case, the second best team in the league going into this upcoming season by most people's estimation, is crazy. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's not that big of a deal. You're going to be a good regular season team anyway. Harden can get acclimated to the team, and KD, you're still going to win a lot of games. Kyrie can show up for 35 games and everything will be fine. Fair. But what if he doesn't? What if the team is like, you know what? We'd rather not have this guy just float in and out of the team for 35 games this year. What if they just tell him not to show up? then what happened? Then what if the rules change 75 games into the year or in the postseason, and suddenly Kyrie is allowed to play in home games, but hey, by the way, we have to integrate a 25 point per game scorer that hasn't played with us the entire season with two other guys that are also, very talented, very good at basketball and want to score the ball. There's no time for integration here. There's no time for these guys to gel. It's a mind-blowingly weird situation. And again, because it's Kyrie, nobody's trading for him. Like if you're out there and you're thinking, hey, what if they did Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving? Let's just switch those two guys. Kyrie's not playing in Philly. He would either retire, or a lot of the restrictions that still exist for Kyrie in Brooklyn would also exist in Philadelphia. It is a beyond strange isn't even the word. It's beyond strange. And honestly, when you start to look at it like from a basketball perspective, would I be upset if it was like Kyrie for Ben Simmons? You make the trade happen tomorrow and you know that Ben Simmons is playing in all 82 games? I would think about it, but there's nothing to think about because he can't be moved. I'm legitimately curious in the comment section. What do you guys think Brooklyn should do? Should they just send him home? Should they wait it out, hope the rules change? Should they hope that Kyrie's opinions change? Because it kind of just seems like everybody's throwing their hands up and like, it is what it is, And at that point, are you going to pay the guy $35 million not to play? It's unbelievably strange. The only way this works out well, there's two scenarios in which this works out well for Brooklyn. One, Kyrie changes his mind and he's eligible to play, and a week from now, this doesn't matter. Two, Kyrie's position on this stays the same. Harden and Kevin Durant have an awesome regular season. The Nets win like 55 games. We get to the postseason. Things are different in the world, and the NBA changes the rules. And Kyrie's now eligible to play in home games. And then at that point, it's still weird because he hasn't played the regular season, but I don't anticipate the league changing the rules on this for a variety of different reasons, but most notably the fact that pretty much everybody else in the league has already given in to what the league wants to happen because of all the really strict regulations on this stuff, except for Kyrie. So if they change the rules in the middle of the year in the postseason, everybody's going to start pointing fingers like, hey, Andrew Wiggins and the Warriors are going to be like, wait, why couldn't you change the rules for Andrew Wiggins? Why are you changing the rules for Kyrie Irving? So ultimately, where I'm at with this, as a fan of this team is, I'm just mentally prepared to not have Kyrie Irving play for the basketball team this year. I'm mentally prepared for him to just literally not play this season. And it's Harden, it's KD, it's Patty Mills, and that's the basketball team. Like, how weird is that I've just accepted that Kyrie Irving's not playing this year? And it's literally because it's him. You can criticize Kyrie for 1,000 things, but what you can't criticize him for is just, dude does what he wants to do, right? It's not an Andrew Wiggins situation where he's just going to turn around and be like, yeah, I changed my mind. I don't have any expectation that Kyrie Irving's going to change his mind. And unless the rules change, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be playing without Kyrie Irving for probably the entire season. The way I'm looking at this is what's the benefit of Brooklyn letting him play in 30 games when he can't even practice with the team for the most part? There's periods during the year where Kyrie won't be able to practice with the team for 10 days, 15 days at a time, because not only can he not play in home games, he can't step in the practice facility. He can't practice with the team. So unless they're on the road in Dallas somewhere where the rules are different and he can, practice with the team, he basically can't be a part of the team. It's beyond weird. And I get, we've all gotten accustomed to unprecedented circumstances in the world in general, in the NBA specifically, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised about this kind of stuff, but the fact that we're looking at a situation where arguably the top team in the entire league is just gonna be like, okay, you know what? Our third best player is just not gonna play this year. Cool, let's run it. And they still can be a legitimate threat at the top of the Eastern Conference because of the talent of the other two guys and because of just the abundant amount of scoring they already have on the roster and some of the depth that they brought in. I can't even wrap my mind around this. I thought about this video for a long time, and then the report came out yesterday, and I was like, you know what? We're going to do it. And I still just can't fathom the magnitude of this. Strictly from a basketball standpoint, there's plenty of other things to talk about if you want to talk about them. We're not going to talk about them here, but this might be like, if Kyrie doesn't play and the Nets are still really good this year and they make the conference finals or the finals and they lose it, or potentially they win it, It's like a top 5 weird sports moment of all time. Write it in pen. It's never changing. There's never going to be another circumstance where a guy just doesn't play, not because he's unhappy with the team. This isn't Ben Simmons. This isn't, hey, I don't really want to play for this basketball team anymore, and then Philly goes on to win the title. It's literally, I'm not eligible to play in half the games. It's mind-boggling. Blows my mind. That's all I have to say. I'm curious y'all's opinions in the comment section below. Be kind, please. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like rating on it. Check my socials up there. Check out the box on the screen for more videos from me just like this one. There's none of them are going to be like this one, but similar to what I typically post. And yeah, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you next time, fellas. Peace.